Hey everyone, this is Cosmodius, and I'm going to give a status report on my build that I'm doing. This actually won't, I don't think this build's going to take very long after this point. So, essentially, the developer has recently added the final pieces of the puzzle for, at least I think for now, phase changing between liquids and gases. And they're probably going to add a few more things for liquids because I don't think the liquids had enough stuff. Um, but I might be wrong, I don't know. So we'll go ahead and load in and I'll explain what's going on here. Um, so here I made a design change for the main corridor. And in the main corridor, there is this ceiling here, and it looks kind of ugly. I don't really know if I want to change it or not. I kind of feel like I do, actually. I think I'm going to, because it just kind of looks, it doesn't really match anymore. So we'll go ahead and do this. That's not what I wanted to do. There we go. All right. So now we have our room right here. And this room here, well, actually, we'll save it on the floor. That way it doesn't bug out when we load again. So, this is the main corridor, as y'all who have kept up with this probably know. The lights are functional, but I need to really turn my own light off to really see that. Also, it's daytime and I don't have shading enabled, so I'm going to go ahead and enable shading. There we go. So, this is the dark, spooky corridor in the daytime. Turn the lights on. And what we have here is we have a room full of these vents. And some of you already might be freaking out because how are you going to play this map? It's going to lag on your computer probably. My bad. I apologize in advance, but this is kind of the idea of a big base like this. And this is also one of the reasons why a lot of people haven't made big bases, because that's what would happen. So, anyway, to go ahead and go over some of the features here, I'll start over here. If I turn my lighting off, you can see the lighting's not actually, the lighting right here is not really highlighted enough. And, you know, I can fix that later. But anyway, for now, I have 3 things I added, these tank connectors. And I left a space right here. That's very important. And essentially, I have a space over here too. And the way this works is the white one, which is what I chose for the color for now, is the refill. Originally, I had decided I was going to do green. I'll go ahead and show what that looks like. So that way people know, you know, this is life support right here. Right, that was my idea, and then I realized, you know what, maybe I don't need to make it that obvious. And so I did white instead. But over here I did gray. And so gray obviously takes the air that's dirty out of the system. Now, how does that work exactly? So here we have about 16 vents for pushing air in the room and 16 vents for sucking air out of the room. This is a very big room. That being said, this is probably one of the only rooms where I'll use this quantity of vents for this kind of task. In other rooms, I might use a lot less. Okay, so that we're clear on that. I'm not planning on spamming these everywhere like this. There will be probably a lot of vents that I'll be making. But if we go over here to the dorms, there's probably going to be like 2 input-output vents in this hall. There'll probably be 1 input-output vent for each of these rooms. So in total, there'll be 6 input-output vents, meaning that that's probably what I'll end up having in the other rooms as well, about 6. And I'll make sure I spread them evenly across the 2 sides of the walls of the room so that they go in one side, come out the other side as they're saturating. And so you might wonder how it works. So here's how it works. Essentially, because I know that the room has to saturate in a certain manner, I put the input vents on the middle here. The output vents are on the side. I mean, whoops. The input vents are on the side, outputs are in the middle. So clean air comes in through the middle. Dirty air gets sucked in through the sides. And so I was actually thinking of color coding the side vents just so everybody kind of knows this is the dirty air vents, right? I was thinking of doing that. I don't know how that would look. I haven't tried it yet. I don't know. It looks kind of not cool. Um, but I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. So anyway, as you can guess, these giant inline tanks are specifically for the purpose of the sucking air in part. I'm going to put a pipe analyzer down on the input and output pipe. This is the pipe that sucks in air, and this is the pipe that's pushing out air right here. And so by doing that, what I can do, I'll put a gas sensor in this room, and I might have two. I'm not really sure. I think I only need one. But the thing is, before I can do one, I'm going to have to walk around this room when I pressurize and depressurize it to test. And I'm going to have to be, why is there anything in here at all? Oh, it's very small pressure, okay. I'm going to have to be walking around the room like this and seeing what spot needs the sensor, so that way we know what we're going to base the entirety of the room's vents off of, because we don't want to overpressurize these tanks. So we're probably going to use back pressure regulators, which I'm sure the developer, I don't think the developer actually, I don't think he ruined the gas ones yet. He ruined the liquid ones, I think, but not the gas ones. So that way, and yeah, we do need light right here. I'm probably going to add it to the ceiling. Yeah, light really needs to go right here. But anyway, let's see. How can we do it? I'll probably decide that in a little bit. For the most part, though, anyway, here's how the water works. Literally, people just get water and slap it here, and then they just fill up their bottles, and that's pretty much it. So whenever the air in the room is bad, there'll be a flashing light, and it'll likely tell everybody that the air in the room is bad, so that somebody knows that they're supposed to be fixing something. I'll also have a nice big network of information between the rooms, obviously going to the bridge. That'll let people know in the bridge that air is bad in one of the rooms. So maybe not too specific on information there, but here's the light switch. And so I'm likely going to put my flashing light here. What's going on here? Oh, okay, that's what's going on. All right, so if this is the standard, that means that over here, downstairs, I'm likely going to need a place for doing that. And as you can see, there's hardly any room inside the hallways. So I came up with something of an idea for that, which I haven't done yet. And it isn't probably going to be an idea that people will love me for doing, but let's go ahead and check it out. So something like a grading system, like right here. And then I could put a tank connector on top. And then I could put the pipes. See, that is my current idea. Over here we have a window. And if we do it right here, they'll be like, what are you doing, man? And up here it's kind of dark, but at the same time it gives that sense that we're doing some kind of maintenance. And what I can do is have a ladder that's going up to it. And so I can place my ladder anywhere I want, but I'm thinking of doing it back here. Let's see. Yep, see, ladder platform. That's a composite grading floor. Yeah, that's the one that I was using, okay. And essentially, we could have it like this. And it doesn't really kill it too much. Some may disagree. Let's see, that's a ladder platform. That's a composite open ladder platform. So if I wanted to do this one, I think I'd have to do it like this. Yeah, there we go, because it looks a little nicer. Um, if I do it like this, here's where the problem ends up being. So I want to come in my room, and I just got too close to the ladder and ended up climbing up the ladder. Right? So here we can easily spray this, and it looks like it kind of fits in. I think I'm going to have to do it this way. I think I'll actually have to do it this way. So let's get our spray out. You can't really see much of a difference, but and I think I want to keep this blue. I don't want the ladder to stand out too much, so I'll just keep it blue. And somebody can come up here, do maintenance or whatever they're supposed to do. Let's go ahead and turn the lights off, see what it really looked like. I'm just doing maintenance on the input and output tanks. So for this, I think what I'd have to do here is I'd end up having to make an input-output tank for everything, like a single tank solution. And the single tank solution would allow me to essentially, and I'm going to keep it creepy just like this. I think that's perfect. But the single input-output tank would essentially breathe. So that way, it sucks in bad air. Well, it'll suck in air in general from the rooms, and whenever it gets to a certain point where it's full, and it's like, yeah, okay, well, all the rooms individually decide they're going to pump in air till they reach a certain point where they have to pump in new air. That'd be kind of bad, actually, now I think about it. I'd have to put the ladder right here, though. Yeah, I'd have to change this again. Let's go ahead and change it. Changes gotta be made. All right, grading. Here we go. Oh, wait, I was already on grading. There we go. Composite floor grading. Go ahead and get our spray out again. And the ladder. All right, there we go. So if somebody wants to essentially do any kind of maintenance on the air, all right, so one of the tanks will eventually fill up with air from the rooms, while the other tank is essentially losing air. So the way I could do it is I could have two flashing lights for each room, maybe. One of them being for the air being polluted, and the other one being for the air running out from the one that needs to essentially be refilled. And I think that'd be more appropriate because these rooms are going to only lose air based off of how many people are even in them, chilling in them, for whatever reason. Go ahead and turn that off before it blows all my power. All right, and that's kind of the idea. I think I shut all the... Did I shut all the doors? I don't think I did. No, I didn't. Okay. And the lounge is not powered again because I forgot I resaved whenever I did that stupid thing. Alright, there we go. So anyway, gotta pay attention to detail here. What I'll be doing instead then, because of my recent decision, is we'll have 2 flashing lights in each room. So that means like this. That doesn't really look good, but I don't want to put them on the opposite side of the switch. Um, huh. Yeah, no. So here's my thoughts. Go and get the cable going. And then we'll put the flat wall on, and then we'll put the flashing lights. And essentially my idea is like so. So we have a spray. We're going to spray them their color for right now. We're not coating them or anything yet. And whenever one of them has bad air, we want that one to essentially go off like, hey, this is bad air. And then whenever the air is running out for the good air, or when there's some kind of problem in the room, that's probably the only problem we can have. So we'll have orange and purple. And essentially what they'll do is they'll tell the people who are coming in and out of the room, right next to the switch, the light switch where you have to turn it on and off to come in and out of the room. You probably might do that if you're playing this game and you just started a new game or whatever, and you didn't start with all the lights on. Which, by the way, was something I was thinking of actually automating. I wasn't sure if I should do it or not. Instead, because I am going to eventually add other systems to the bridge. So we'll go ahead and go up to the bridge so I can explain, even though we don't have anything to show up in the bridge. But I was going to add a system for the bridge where essentially every room has some way of being detected here, because in total right now I think we have quite a number of rooms. We have 3 rooms here, 4 rooms in this little stack I'm standing on, another 3 over there, 4 on the north stack, and then 2 here. So that's 6, 10, 14. So we have 16 rooms. So if we have 16 places, we could easily detect from the bridge, maybe not with a flashing light though, something like an LED. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I was hoping there'd be 8. Well, anyway, we could put it somewhere, and essentially as long as we have 16 spots, which we do, just place them upside down or whatever, we really don't even need to know that people are in these 2 rooms here. So we could probably just leave those 2 out and have 14 lights. And we won't have to set them right here. Like we can set them on one wall, like one little specific area right here like this. Or something, and we can also elevate them. We could put them up higher if we want. Have the information down below or up above. All decisions we can make, and it'll just say somebody's in the room at that moment, right? That's all it'll do is it'll detect somebody's in a room. So now that we have our idea of how things are going to go, let's go ahead and get to what we're actually trying to get to here. Actually, we're not going to get there yet. Here I have my power generator. And my power generator takes 2. We'll be changing that later. It takes 2 tanks. We also still haven't put the air in this room yet for pressurization. I have no problem at all with the doors being opened and shut, except this one right here. This one's going to have some form of automatic depressurization. What I'm probably going to do to automate this door is I'm going to have a vent in here that sucks air out. So if you want to come out, the this door right here might be this door will be locked. This door won't be. You'll come in here, you press the door, it's shut. This door locks, air sucks out automatically. This door unlocks, and then it opens. And it won't, or it'll open before it unlocks its controls. And I think you could do it that way. I'm not 100% sure. So that way nobody messes it up, and then you can come outside. So anyone can come inside and outside of a custom airlock. That will essentially always ensure that nobody can mess it up unless they try to mess it up. That's the only way. And that's my idea with that for now. So over here we're going to put our air up eventually. And when we do that, of course, it might likely be up here, or I could add more grates around because I really don't see why not. It's not going to really affect anything too much, I think, in terms of aesthetics. Not that I care about aesthetics specifically. But if we did something like that, and then we did some air tanks, we still have room for maintenance here, although you can obviously it's not going to be OSHA compliant. Hell, we could even make it extend it all the way out just to make it look however we want, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm not really sure. Yeah, I guess I'll keep it that way. Just because I feel like it. No in particular reason. Um, and we could even have our tanks, maybe not on the floor, though. I don't think I'm going to be able to do them on the floor like that. And what we can do here is we'll have our two tanks. Our alarms are right here. They'll go off whenever they go off. Go ahead and save it, since we're going to keep it that way. So that gives us 4 tanks to concern ourselves with so far. Which brings us to our canister mixing and storage that we did nothing to yet. This is the room where those 4 tanks are actually going to be the tanks that we care about doing stuff with. But they'll also have to be heating and cooling of all 4 of those tanks. And whatever we really feel like doing or whatever we need. So they did add some new features. Here is the condensation chamber. And here's the evaporation chamber. So the condensation chamber turns gas into liquid. The evaporation chamber turns liquid into gas. For some reason, certain players haven't figured that out, and they've been trying to push gas through the evaporation chamber. I gotta pause this for a second. Okay, I'm back. So, anyway, for this room, I plan to design, as I said previously, the at least a way to get those 4 tanks the way I want. The only problem, of course, is there are only 6 gases as of right now, or 7, I think, if you want to count water, because water turns into steam and ice. I forget exactly how many. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The thing is, I could make this room to where we have a thing that can heat or cool whatever gas we want to heat and cool. And if I make that system, then I can have another system for mixing them. And that would make this room very simple, because essentially everybody who comes in here, they know that they just, need to filter as well. Then they need to mix. And so they would have to manually adjust their own tanks I think, let's see, canister. And we could just have a bunch of empty canisters like this just in here, hanging out, not even attached to anything. And I don't think the game's going to really care if we do that. I don't think it's going to bug out and send everything through the floor. But in case it did, there's another thing we could do, which is drill these and put them all in a locker. So if we put them in a locker, there's quite a bit of room. And I don't think I'd put it there. I'd probably put it somewhere like that. And here we have as many tanks as we need that aren't being used. Essentially a nice buffer to do as we want. And that's my plan for this room. Once that's done, let's say you want to... I'm just going to give an example, walkthrough kind of thing of my idea. But, you know, here for the water, I mean, that should be obvious how that will work. That's probably not going to be hard at all. However, ice is now no longer... Ice and pure ice are two different things now, so I'm not sure if that's going to make too big of a difference. It might. And if so, then we'll just have to filter that somewhere. But essentially, let's say these lights are going off, right? Well, let's say that one's going off, which just means that the amount of air that's breathable that's left to be pushed in the room is low. So when the filter's filtering, then, you know, it's not going to be able to replace the air. So the air is going to start running out, and then this one's going to go off when that happens as well. So to prevent that from happening, you'd have a canister over here. And look how easy this is when you have grates. So we got a canister right over here. And this canister is the one that pumps in the air. So it's basically empty. We take it out, and then we you know, come over here, process it or whatever. And when we're done processing it, we come right back, and there we go. We've got some air for this room. Now, to get people to know that's what that does and how that works, naturally, you would probably want some signs. So I probably end up putting signs on the wall here that are going to tell people how things work. So that way they're not dumb and not do what they should be doing. So like this is gonna have a name for that sign right there. And then we'll put a sign right here. And then I really hope that I don't have to put a sign right here. But I will anyway. And it should be obvious that this is supposed to be for refilling your water bottle. And everything's already connected and has power and stuff. The only problem, of course, is that these big tanks, they're not in line here. And I'm going to need some kind of way of pushing air out. I don't need a pump here. So this tank can actually stay here without a pump while these vents pull out. So I should be able to get a analyzer. As for this, those inline tanks will tell me when that's full without blowing up everything. That's the whole purpose right there. So whenever the air needs to be sucked in because there's too much percent carbon, the air gets sucked in because there's too much percent carbon. Then the new air comes out, and you got to go and you got to come down here, and you got to filter it all out. So that means I might need something to filter each individual air as needed, but I don't think I want to set up a full filtering system. Because if I do that, this room's going to become the Atmos room itself. And I actually want to avoid that. I'm trying to restrain myself to those parameters. So what I'll probably end up doing, having people just manually filter and then have pumps to pump in and exhaust any extra outside the station. So that is wasteful, I know. But I also probably could make other solutions. I'm not quite sure. If I could convert things into liquid, eventually there'd be some gas left still, and that'd be a problem. So, and yeah, that's my idea for handling those problems, and essentially my solution to the station Atmos system, and how I'm currently going to be designing my canister mixing and storage. And the next time you see a video, it'll be about that room specifically. As for this, I'm not automating anything yet. All right, this is just the infrastructure set up for that. I really want the canister storage set up and everything before we do anything here. So thank you guys for watching, and that'll be the end of my video.